Good morning. How are you on this Sunday, March 16th? Tomorrow is St. Patrick's Day. To all that are Irish out there, Sharon Begora. Happy St. Patty's Day to you. I have about that much Irish in me. My great-grandma was a Ladley who married a Schaup who was German. So my little bit of Irish, it comes into play a little bit. But how you doing? What are you doing today on this Sunday, March 16th? They are calling for snow again here in St. Louis, Missouri. I saw it in the forecast. It's supposed to rain this afternoon, turn to snow. I thought I saw that on Wednesday we are in for another storm. I know a lot of tornadoes touched down this past weekend. Even me and the kid, I put halters, harnesses all on the pets, and we all got them down to the basement because it was a torrential mess here. So wherever you are, I hope you're good. I hope you're warm. I hope you're healthy. I hope you're happy. I'm Kitryn Marie. I reside in St. Louis, Missouri. I'm an artist, writer, speaker, life, and a business coach. Teach a variety of art classes. Don't have any of my paintings up right now because I'm trying to move that into another direction. Working probably more on putting my vision board together. Have not written on my blog in months. It's taken pretty much an emotional toll, and when I know mentally I'm starting to lag, I know I have to step back, drop off, and that is one of the things that gets neglected. At some point I will pick it back up when business picks back up. Been lending my hand a little bit more in my outside gig. They keep finding new positions for me, and gladly I'm taking them on. I like the role of brand ambassador, the goodwill person, being able to drop off product, talk to these other companies and businesses. Thank you to Metro Electric for letting me bend your ear for a good 20 minutes on Friday. I hope you enjoy the product that was dropped off to you, and I hope to see you really soon. Ollie is at Schlafly in Maplewood. But, I've been focusing on putting my vision board together, teaching the class based in psychology, based in life coaching. It's a cut and paste discussion, art project, enriching your life, allowing you to see where you've been, where you'd like to go, what you'd like to bring into your life, and understanding the patterns in how you choose. This morning, though, I want to talk a little bit about burnout, because I don't think most people really understand the detrimental effects that burnout has, and oftentimes it coincides what will look like grief. It's like you are mourning something that no longer is, and when you have burnout, there's a part of you that is mourning who you used to be and why you can't get back to that. Of course, I have my cheat sheets in front of me, so I'm going to kind of read some things off, because even I have questioned burnout, my own burnout. I've lost my enthusiasm, not so much in teaching, but I've lost my enthusiasm in how I market. I'm not the same person. I'm not the same person I was a year ago. Definitely not the same person I was 10 and 13, 15 years ago. But burnout often comes from doing the same thing the same way, not finding joy in what you're doing. And it creates this imposter syndrome of, why am I even doing this to begin with? Is this really who I am? And I'm going to tell a story here in a second, but I'm going to read this off my notes. And always leave a comment. I would love if you would just subscribe and follow me on all of the social media. So all you have to do is Google Kitryn Marie, and I'm going to show up everywhere. I'm like a bad penny. I just show up. But anyway, burnout. Burnout is a state of chronic physical and emotional exhaustion caused by prolonged stress. So many times we get in this routine of doing our jobs, and it just becomes second nature to who we are, and we do not realize the toll that it takes on us emotionally and mentally, and especially as we are getting older, We cannot do the physical things like we used to do, and it creates stress on the body, on the bones, in the mind. Often due to work, creative pressure, or trying to juggle too many responsibilities. I had a conversation with somebody the other day, and they said, "How long have you been doing this? How long have you been at this?" And I said, "Well, let's see, I lost my big job 2009. I started putting my business together based on my painting classes probably 2011. Then I went through a big health crisis, went through a breakup. My health was suffering. I needed to get to the root cause of what was going on with my health and how that relationship that I was coming out of very much played a factor into my immune system, which made me deep dive into the medical training that I had, because at one point my dad wanted me to be a nurse, so I studied medical assisting, which at that time was equivalent to being an LPN. Later on down the line, I thought I wanted to be a massage therapist, and having to take anatomy and physiology again. So when I was sick and trying to understand what was happening to me emotionally, mentally, physically, and why my body was shut down and sick, I thought, you know what? I'm reasonably intelligent enough. I had taken psychology twice in college, the first class, and then there's the second 101 and 102. And I thought, you know what, I want to learn more about psychology. I want to learn more about the limbic system. I want to learn more about how your brain functions and where trauma and drama and memories are stored in the brain, and how that plays out subconsciously in our life, where we don't understand why we have chosen and the patterns that we have stored because of that memory and because of those emotions, and how it plays into life. And at that point, that is how I studied life coaching, trying to heal, trying to take all my art, putting into this business, and from there it went to putting a vision board together based just basically on how we live and how we are products of environment, and we don't know any different because it's been, embedded in our mind. It's been ingrained in how we grew up. And then as we are growing and we are trying to decide what it is we want to do and where we want to go and how we want to be, and being productive and having purpose and having these relationships, at some point, putting all of this together while still having my hand in food and beverage, it created this, not quite a mental shutdown, but as I was telling this person, I could see their mouth was like dropping. And they said, "Do you realize how many things that you have done since the time of losing your job and what you have tried to achieve?" They were just like, "How are you still standing?" And I said, "It's just who I am. It's just how I function. It's that ingrained, you be responsible and accountable for who you are and how you affect the people that come into your life." So in this past year, with all the setbacks that I have had, just physically, things out of my control, the burnout, because as I am still putting all these efforts in my endeavor, it's not panning out. And that grief of the plan that was there being stale or stagnant, not seeing growth, it's like beating your head against the wall. It's more than feeling tired. It's a sense of really being mentally and emotionally drained with no motivation. And I think too many of us, we get stuck in these career entities where, we've trained to do one thing, and then it's like, this isn't serving me anymore. It's not fulfilling me. I'm bored. And when you get to that point when you are bored, you have to understand the creative part of your life and what is not stimulating your brain or your mind or what you thought you wanted to do, when you were a little kid, and how far you are removed from that idea. Having the energy to push forward. It happens when you feel overwhelmed and disconnected. And disconnected is the key. I don't know what happened to my camera there. Disconnected is the key to why we start to detach from things. We no longer feel like we belong. We no longer feel like we're where we need to be. And then it's when the mind starts to question, am I really doing the right thing? Am I really in the right place? Am I really with the right person? Why do I feel so tired all the time? Why do I not want to watch TV? Why do I not want to partake in any of the activities? And then those that have really bad coping skills, they fall into that addiction. They smoke too much, they drink too much, they do too many recreation drugs, they run to the doctor, they get, their prescriptions refilled because they want to be numb. They cannot focus on where they're supposed to be in their life, and they question the imposter syndrome. Key symptoms of burnout: exhaustion, a deep, unrelenting fatigue that doesn't go away even when you rest. Now, mind you, if you are a chronic smoker and you are depriving your body of real oxygen, you're already fighting a dual battle. Even after sleep, you wake up and you're tired. A disengagement, feeling disconnected from your work, your relationships, or life in general. There's a lack of joy. And when you have lack of joy, you are suffering from grief. That's all there is to it. You are suffering from a sadness because you can't find that place that you feel fulfilled, having a mission, having a purpose, being happy. When was the last time you actually were happy at where you are or who you are with? The things that once gave you excitement, they kind of make you sick. It kind of makes you want to completely withdraw and shut down. Reduced productivity. This is across the board what a lot of us are seeing in our job situations. There's a drop in performance. There's low morale. Nobody wants to be there. There's no strong leadership. It's a sinking ship, and everybody's like, well, save myself. Everybody else can do what they need to do. I need to be looking out for myself. You try to work emotionally harder because you're trying to still grapple with what is happening where there is no solid foundation. Tasks become mentally and physically draining, and you struggle to even complete your day. I know oftentimes in my outside gig, it's a short 5-6 hours, and I've been doing private parties and banquets and everything, and I get to a point that I can feel I hit the wall. I'm all gung-ho, I'm all rested, I'm all ready, I'm physically able for whatever the 63-year-old body can do, but then in about 3 hours, I'm like, okay, is the night over yet? How much more? My shoulder doesn't want to work, my hip doesn't want to move, and I can feel myself emotionally kind of withdrawing. And then after a little bit, I kind of step back a little bit, but it's that feeling disconnected while you are doing the job because you're on autopilot. And I don't think autopilot is a good thing all the time. Sometimes it helps, but oftentimes not. Physical symptoms. These can include headaches, muscle tension, stomach issues, and even sleep disturbances, like we said. The biggest thing, too, is mental fog. Mental fog. I was having a conversation, a few months ago. I had a group of, maybe 20 oldies. And when I say oldies, now mind you, I'm 63. When I say oldies, I'm talking later 70s into their 80s. I've even had some of my people being in their 90s. And I will write what they are asking for, and I will reiterate to make sure they know what they asked for, because oftentimes if I'm bringing their drink or their food, they don't remember what they ordered. So mental fog, brain fog, aside from aging, aside from Alzheimer's or dementia, you get to this point where your brain does not want to work anymore. It automatically shuts down to protect the body. And when you are in mental fog, you can't even make a decision of where you need to be within the next 20 minutes, although you have to be somewhere. It's that you get up in the morning and you're like, okay, what's my day going to be like? And then this fog comes about you and you're sitting on the end of your bed and you're like, okay, I need to get up, but I can't think. I need coffee. Or you get in the shower and you get out of the shower and you're standing there trying to dry yourself off, and all of a sudden you freeze because your brain stops functioning. You get yourself together, you get in autopilot, because it's just a routine, it's just what you're used to doing, you don't think about it. Then you get in your vehicle, and you sit in your vehicle for a good 10 minutes before you even turn the vehicle on. Mental fog. Then you get to the job, and before you even go through those front doors, those gates, whatever it is that you need to get to, you hesitate because your mind doesn't want to be in the place it needs to be, because you don't even want to be in the position that you're in. It's that mental fog that very much is the final key in what burnout looks like. So, concentrating. When you are trying to concentrate on your job, who you are, who you need to represent, what your image is. And I'm going to tell the story about imposter syndrome, because imposter syndrome says, this isn't who I am, but I can pretend to be. My sister, who I don't like to talk about a whole lot, but my sister sang in a rock and roll band for 2 decades. She could throw her voice where she could imitate, when she sang, Chrissie Hynde, Pat Benatar, Stevie Nicks. My sister didn't finish high school. My sister quit high school so she could go sing, live her creative life in her band, and pretending to be something in order to draw attention, to have this creative life fulfilled. Imposter syndrome, pretending that she was this great rock star. Not that my sister doesn't have talent. My sister has great talent. My sister has been singing since she was 3 years old, singing in front of a mirror, combing her long hair, doing a whole rendition of The Sound of Music. But when she was able to fulfill this second imposter syndrome to who she was, it became a part of her soul. It became a part of her identity. Too many people don't know who their real identity is because they are always hiding and pretending to be something that they're really not. My oldest, and I'm trying to think of the term, and I'm kind of drawing a blank. An identity crisis. Growing up, he always thought he was Superman. His idea person, the false image that he wanted to portray, was to be Superman, to be the strong individual who came in to save people, to care for people, to always be able to be that larger than life. His identity crisis as a child, in the long run, helped him out as he got older. He now is a bodybuilder, he's a personal trainer, he's a massage therapist, he is still caretaking this false identity that he had as a child behooved him, where in my sister's life, it was a phase that lingered for 2 decades, and then she went on to sing with an Elvis impersonator, and she was the backup for them. But impersonating something that you're not to fulfill an identity often creates a crisis, because when you get to be older and you no longer are living that life anymore, you're not stimulated or you're not fulfilled by what you're doing, because the imposter syndrome conflicts with the identity of who you are now and who you used to be, and whatever it is that you're doing in life, it creates this burnout, because you make yourself do something because somewhere along the line someone has said you need to do A, B, C, and D to be successful, when that's not even really where you want to be. And the burnout comes from you keep putting yourself into situations that don't serve you. It's not fulfilling the purpose that you had when you were young and you're growing up and you were striving, and then too many people just end up settling. And then when you settle into a situation, you look at your life like, what have I done? What have I become? What's in front of me? I know what's behind me, but what am I looking forward to? And how do I get out of this mental fog? How do I get out of this burnout? And how do I become back to who I originally needed to be in order to be the best version of yourself, of myself? You know, I talk about these things a lot in my vision board class. You know, it's more than just manifesting this dream. You know, magically things are not going to appear for you unless you apply yourself to it. But there is no such thing as a coincidence, and there is serendipity, happenstance moments in your life, but you need to face and be accountable and responsible for who you are right now, understanding why you're staying in a position that you don't need to stay in anymore, because it's not fulfilling the identity and the true self of who you are. You know, when you do have burnout, you have to understand how you need to step back and you need to assess it all. How did you grow up? Who told you you needed to be this, that, or the other? Like I said, my dad wanted me to be a nurse. You know, I studied medical assisting for a year and a half, I believe. You know, it wasn't who I wanted to be, wasn't what I wanted to do. You know, it was only later on, through all these experiences and lessons in life, that put me in this position right now. Through a lot of training, a lot of classes, a lot of online studying, you know, things that I can turn around and hopefully teach you when you are putting this vision board together based on perspective, perception, where you want to see yourself, finding the joy in what you're doing, not having this lag in life, not working a job, being deprived of oxygen, going home, either vegetating on the couch or in front of the TV or just sleeping because your mind cannot absorb anymore from what your day-to-day life is telling you that you need to be doing to be happy. Hope that all made sense. That was a whole bunch right there. Full packaged punch. But I'm Kitryn Marie, an artist, writer, speaker, life and a business coach, reside in St. Louis, Missouri. Would love to hear from you. Would love to see comments below. Please leave your thoughts. Reach out, Kitryn_Marie at yahoo.com if you were interested in taking the vision board class. It is $65 per person. I can do it as a private. You are more than welcome to come to my home studio. If you have a group, I come to you, or I do have a venue in Maplewood, Missouri that you are more than welcome to book. You know, wherever you are, be happy, be blessed. Fate turns on a dime. It's up to you to decide what side of that coin you want to be on. You know, kind of do a deep dive on yourself. Is there joy? Are you happy? How are you feeling? Are you exhausted? Are you mentally deprived? Are you with the right person? Are you in the right circumstance? Are you in the right environment that is going to help the true identity of who you are, where you can kind of step out of that imposter syndrome and put yourself in different situations that's going to give you long-term creative abilities that's just going to make you be happy. But take care, and I hope to see you real soon. Bye.